Robert Del Grande always wanted to transform American cooking. He just didn't always know that he always wanted to transform American cooking. UC Riverside assisted him in his spirit quest by providing him with a doctorate in biochemistry and a very supportive wife. Since then, his work combining regional traditions with advanced chemical engineering has made him the most lionized chef in the United States.
Well, on one of my many sabbaticals from UC Riverside, I was working at the Bioag Library. And the first time I remember seeing Robert, instead of going through the turnstile, he was busy reading a book, as he spends his entire life doing, and walked right through the chain. And I heard the chain fall and saw this man look oblivious to what even happened, and that was my first sighting of Robert.
I met Robert back in 1989. I was working at the restaurant while in graduate school. I was in the MD Ph.D. program at Baylor, and I covertly took a job at Cafe Annie, my favorite restaurant in town, because we had just had our first child.
So I knew Robert was passionate about food when his idea of fun was spending basically most of his money that he received once a month to maintain a lifestyle. We would drive into LA and we would meet restaurateurs like Michael McCarty, who owned Michael's, which in the early 70s was the beginning of the California cuisine.
In those days, there was Robert Del Grande, Dean Faring, and Stephen Piles, and Ann Lindsay Greer were the four souls that were beginning the modern Southwest American food movement.
Pretty soon, he was getting every food magazine there was while he was doing science, and developed all these friends because they would have big dinners, because I would do the dishes at their house, and his world evolved around science and food.
Robert Del Grande is both a scientist and a chef. He comes every once in a while when he's in California to visit me, and we have wonderful discussions.
Robert's a chef's chef, and what I mean by that is I think he's most respected by those in the culinary world, mainly because of his ability to apply scientific methodology to cooking. And I really believe that his Ph.D. in biochemistry has paid off greatly for him. It has really brought him to a level of thought that not many people, especially in the cooking world, have ever really attained. And for that, he's special. He's
a master. You know, he's got a sense of chemistry, a sense of engineering, and so he's been able to incorporate that into the food. And I think that's an extremely important thing. You know, people just usually cook from the heart. Well, he cooks from the heart and the brain. And he has a great sensibility when he's doing the marrying of all the different ingredients that he's been able to develop.
I don't think he ever thought he stepped out of science. When we talk together, he talks about the viscosity of gravies. I have had the opportunity to travel with him both in the United States and internationally, and I can't tell you how many times I've been amazed. We'll walk into a restaurant and he's recognized. So does he deserve this? Absolutely, and the best way to evaluate that is to ask, does he have an international and national reputation? He absolutely does. But a story that would put that in perspective is, I remember we were eating at a restaurant in Rome, right next to the Pantheon, and it's a famous fish restaurant, and we're sitting there having dinner, and it was the last night before they closed for the summer, and the chef recognizes Robert. And of course, our meal then became a bit more extravagant, a little bit more wine, and we had a great time, especially when he sat down and joined us. So I think that best exemplifies his international reputation.